What would you name a newborn child if you really, really wanted to ruin their life, but wanted to maintain plausible deniability about having done it on purpose? There's a guy here in DC shown on the news all the time. He's like the spokesperson for the US Park Service, so he's on whenever there's an event on or around the mall. Anyway, his name is Mike Litterist. They don't pronounce the T at the end like they absolutely should more often than not. It always amuses me. Not the name you really wanted as a kid. Then you're dealing with the press for a living? Lol. Edit, his name is actually Mike Litterist. They just say Litterist. I don't see how a weird name would ruin someone's life, like most of this thread is saying. You really want to screw with someone, then make their name too long for most name fields and include something to mess with databases plus lots of non-standard characters so that companies that do sanitize their input won't even take the name. Maybe something like a final solution OZ Chupacabra 1 cent dollar euro Hitler pound 1 7 Indies nuts drop table name Petal, Honey or Bunny. This sounds like cute names for a little girl at first, except that it's rather hard to be taken seriously years down the line when you're a full-grown adult and trying to address a boardroom of important people and your name is something Petal Rose, Honey Little or Bunny Walker, making you sound like a character straight out of a Beatrix Potter novel or a Sylvanian family's toy. My younger half-brother different dads has a last name that is the same as a word often used as slang for a vagina. He and his wife were going to name their firstborn son Harrison until I pointed out that they were essentially naming him Harry Vagina. His jaw hit the floor when it sunk in. Nephew's name is now Jackson, Jackson Vagina. I'd name him after my grandpa, and then constantly tell him all the stories of the man whose name he's expected to live up to. If it was a daughter, I'd just name her after my dad's cousin Candy. Because, let me tell you, that's a real person and according to my aunt, growing up as Candy Cane was pretty fucking awful. Sniff Jom. Having a surname as a first name, and first name as a surname, means people would mentally swap them. Having an instead of them would keep getting auto-corrected on computer forms and causing hell for paperwork. Both you can blame on typos when completing the birth certificate. I heard about a sweet, young couple, very naive church-going folk, and they were expecting their first, a little boy. Someone from their church had to sit them down and gently explain why the first name Eaton was a mistake given that their last name was Cox. The last name Dyke is very common in the area I live in. When I moved here in grade 8, there was an announcement over the school's PA for a Harry Dyke to report to the office. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, so probably Harry Dyke Lamau. Name it porn. In Thai language, it is a common name that shows up often. It means getting a good blessing. If a powerful mythical creature grants you porn to be healthy and can recover fast, it means you have received a good porn. Bend over. Legitimate actual person my sister knew. His parents were really nice people too, just painfully naive. Deeply religious types. Let us say after 5 years in a West London comprehensive, Ben was neither naive or religious. In high school I knew someone whose last name was Null and she crashed databases and web forms everywhere she went. She changed her last name legally on her 18th birthday to Null so it was pronounced the same, but didn't crash things. Had a friend in middle school that said she wanted to name her future daughter Lizard and call her Liz for short, so that when people assume it stands for Elizabeth or something the child could correct them that it's short for lizard. My parents knew someone in university who called himself Dick from Richard, of course. Dick's last name was Trickle. My dad in particular can't tell the story without laughing uncontrollably. I'd say that Dick Trickle gets my vote. Just fucking anything with stupid spelling. My kid brought a new friend around the other day and he goes, "Hi, I'm Declan with a K," and yes, I will be saying that for the rest of my life. I was like, funny line but also poor bugger. I had read a story about how a woman unintentionally named her daughter after a concentration camp. She said she disliked the name and had no idea. The craziest part was that she got pretty far before anyone told her. My granny is called Eileen. Little did my great-grandparents know that she would contract childhood polio that left her with one leg longer than the other. I feel terrible for this, my granny is a come on placenta. My older sister is a nurse and she actually had a patient who named her baby girl this because she thought it sounded pretty. I mean, how would you even shorten that into a plausible nickname? Liat Berglajot Liat Stoter. English translation Ugly Rock Ugly Ugly Daughter. This is a perfectly valid name around here and I don't know why. It's dying though thankfully. Hennessy, like after the drink. We Southeast Asians love a drink, and I swear I remember a Khmer friend saying their aunt or sister almost named their kid Hennessy. Amy Schumer already did this genital fissure, so genital fissure, which is a skin tear on your genitals. She claims to not have realized but doubted. I didn't even need to do the naming, the parents did. A Vietnamese-American couple named their son Charlie. My face, flushed face. There was a girl near my hometown named Heed, but her parents 100 named their kid Shithead. Knew a guy in college whose last name was Raper, then legally changed it to Raider. Why he waited so long was bizarre. American underclass names. Diamond Igor's a boy aren't the kinds of names that conjure expectations of prosperity. Syphilis. I had a friend who thought this was the most beautiful name, but he didn't know it was an STD, person facepalming. My stepdad used to work with a guy called Michael Hunt. He went by Mike as he didn't like his full name, Shazam, pronounced Shuzam. Really stress that last syllable. Little Prince would be a close second. In 2006, a local couple named their son Adolf Hitler. The authorities took the child away in 2010. Gaylord. Yes, this is an actual name, and it makes me depressingly sad to think of it again. Shithead. Tell him it's vaguely Gaelic Halashavon being Shuvan. But it's Shithead. Comtria. My parents have been binging Stargate SG-1, and that word is on 2 episodes. I once knew a colleague called Doreen Pratt, and she married a guy called Jeff Balls. Donald for male. Karen for female. Both very normal names but will not age well. 1. Burden. 2. Least favorite. 3. Accident. 4. Missed hike. 5. Through. Thank you to TikTok. Ask anyone in the R Tragedy subreddit and you will get plenty of responses. Lol. Adolf, in honor of my maternal great-grandfather born in 1876, died in 1915. Seaman, and then claimed that it's a perfectly cromulent Russian name. One that always made me chuckle was Gary Neville's dad, Neville. Copy the name of Elon Musk's kid and say I thought it was legit cool. Bambi Lamb, if you're reading this, sorry I kept singing Black Betty. New Hampshire had a representative named Dick Sweat in the mid-90s. If you have a boy, name him Sue. My name is Sue. How do you do? I went to school with a girl named Summer Eve, which is a douche. I knew a Richard Ryder once. He insisted we call him Richard. Mike Hunt. Eric Shin. Dick Dumas. These are real people. Donald J. Trump. By the way, the J stands for Jennifer. Chris Dalfra is Christopher, Amali is Molly.